very quiet here. Today we are in the Flemish Ardennes, which is a little range of, well, I don't know if we'd call them mountains, but high hills. A lot higher than anything we have in the Netherlands. And Lucy and I are here today to do a nice little hike, preferably before it gets too hot, because the temperature is going to be quite warm today, but it's pretty cool right now and most of it is going through forest. So we are looking forward to having a nice little hike. So we are going into an area of the Flemish Ardennes called the Brakel Forest, Brakelbos. And this is a forest on a hill. I don't know what a witness hill is. It's an interesting name. I'll have to look that up. Oh, apparently it's a witness hill because these hills were witness to when the Flemish Ardennes still actually looked out over the sea only 6 million years ago. So there you go, 6 million years ago these woods were on the coast. Now they're very much further inland. Quite a bit of road on this section of the trail, so we're taking it slowly, letting Lucy have lots of sniffs, lots of cornfields, but a beautiful day. And here we have a lovely field of sunflowers. Who's a good girl? Come on. Finally coming back into the woods. So the last 2-3 miles basically just been road, which, you know, is easier walking, but not exactly fun hiking. And it's pretty warm today, so we had to take it slow in some places. Because poor little Lucy needed a wee break every now and again, and so did me. So did I. But we are now finally back into the nice shady trees. And this also reminds me that when you look at trails that people have put on the internet, it's also a good idea to check and see if they've actually mentioned how much of it is on road or not. Because sometimes you find yourself walking for miles and miles on road when all you'd really rather be is in the woods. So we're coming into the last 1.5 kilometers now, I think, and this is the last climb before the descent down into the hoop. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'll add it in the caption somewhere. So in total we will have covered about 14.5 kilometers, or maybe it's a little bit less, I don't know. I'm not quite sure, as we had to do a bit of a detour on a couple of parts because the trail that we followed today obviously was a bit of an older trail on all trails, and there were a couple of parts of the trail that we couldn't actually get to. One part at the very beginning because the trail was just gone, completely overgrown. There was absolutely nowhere through unless you had something like a machete, which I didn't have on me today. Quelle surprise. And then at the last village before the final village where we stop, and I did see something about this in some of the comments, but there is a part of the trail that you can no longer get through now because it is actually a private road, and the person who owns that land has pretty much fenced it off. So you can walk down to the beginning of it and then suddenly you can't go any further because there's a sheep field there, which of course is totally the farmer's right. So that bit of the trail is only a small bit that's fenced off, but because you can't get through, you can't actually get into the woods that way. You have to walk around Knau, I think it's called, and then up into the woods that way, which is the way that we came. It's a small detour, but it does mean having to retrace steps and then go around corners. And it has been pretty warm today, so we are quite happy to be back. So I think this is probably the steepest climbing we've done today. I'm very glad I've got my trekking poles. This is Lucy's first proper introduction to hills. She came to me from Spain, from a shelter, and she came to live in the Netherlands, which, as anybody who lives in the Netherlands knows, and anybody who has visited the Netherlands knows, it's a very flat country. We don't have a lot in terms of elevation at all. But, as it turns out, just an hour away from where I live are some rather good hills. Don't know if one can call them mountains. Might be a bit disingenuous to call them mountains, especially after you've hiked in Scotland. But it's certainly a good stiff walk uphill in many parts. So good training for us both for our grand adventure next year when we tackle the ups and downs of the Skye Mountains. Right, come up to a flat bit finally. How you doing, Lulu? Pretty good? Okay. So here we are back at the car after our, let's see, 8.7 miles is what we did. Not bad. Yeah. So Lucy's first really long walk in the Flemish Ardennes. Her first time also going up and down and up and down and up and down. So she's now spocked out in the back seat. Poor little dear. It's been quite a day for the little madam. But I think she enjoyed it. She looked like she was enjoying herself. Lots of sniffs, lots of smells. And yeah, whenever you're hiking with a dog, of course, you have to be very careful and very aware of their character and making sure that, you know, you stop when they need to stop. And sometimes that means it takes a little bit longer. And yeah, sometimes you just have to stop more often when you're with a dog than you would if you were on your own. But it's all in the name of fun. So we had a great day. It was a really lovely weather. We had beautiful skies, beautiful sunshine, maybe a little bit on the slightly too warm side in some places, but that's the way it goes. We're now going into autumn, so the weather's going to get colder and colder, but we are definitely coming back here for some more hikes in the Flemish Ardennes.